Stuart,
Yes,
um, as today is the New Year holiday for several people on our call, can you talk about the cycles of the year on a personal level and collective level?
it's not only the cycles of the year, Larry, it's the cycles of every day. The sun rises, the sun sets. It's a cycle, 24 hours. I mean, even time, minutes, hours, everything is in cycles. And internally, we also have cycles, and one of the problems with people is the chaos inside themselves that doesn't allow them to let go of a cycle when it's finished, holding on to the past, holding on to, what was. And, New Year's is, to me, look, every time somebody has a birthday, they have a birthday. I mean, I get messages, I know it's their birthday, I send them a greeting. And one of the greetings is almost standard with me is I hope today and every other day of your life is full of joy and love and happiness. I hope the New Year's brings about joy and love and happiness. And not only the New Year, every day of one's life. We celebrate the newness of the coming year. We do it on January 1st. Jewish people do it today. I mean, I think there are years like 5,000 and something. And we do it, and everybody's getting drunk and screaming and yelling and partying and celebrating the newness that's coming. And people don't realize, one of the things I've said many, many times, Genesis, rebirth, the newness, the creation of the universe takes place every single moment. And the only person who misses it is us because we're so full of chaos, with tension and anxiety and fear and insecurity. But every single moment is a new year. Every single moment is an opportunity to recognize that life is being created around us. And through boredom, through lethargy, through repetition, we inure ourselves to the fact that everything, every day of our lives is being created. We live in a magical world. We live in a world where everything around us is really sacred if we eliminate the chaos inside ourselves. If there's a sense of innocence and purity, and that doesn't mean, in order to have that sense of innocence, you have to have tremendous strength inside yourself because everything in life works against it. Everything in life is about preparing for death. The security, the this, the that, everything we do is out of fear. People build monstrous worlds, and they carve out of life these fabulous, wealth and this. And, I'm reading a very incredible book, and I'm sure you all know it. It's called 1,001 Nights. It was written many, many 1,000 years ago or something. But it's wonderful. And it's all about, the wealth, the, romance. And so many of the stories end up with they lived happily ever after until the great moment of death arrives. So they don't call it that. They have another name. But, you just crack up. This was written 1,000 years ago. You understand? So what we have to come to terms with is we live in a world that is being created, around us every single moment of our lives. The practice of inner work, of meditation, is to build an inner life that is capable of witnessing that and seeing that and living that, letting it be part of your experience. And then there's no life, there's no birth, there's no death. It's just the soul moving through different areas of consciousness, learning what it has to learn so it can move on. And New Year's and, all these birthdays, they're simply a reminder of this. But people forget. By the time, the fifth day after New Year's takes place, everybody's forgotten about all the resolutions and the newness of the right back into the old habits and the old patterns, Mostly because there isn't the inner strength in people to be able to live that way. So we fall back into the old habits, the old patterns. And then the next New Year, I'm going to change. It's insanity. It goes on for lifetimes until people get strong enough inside to recognize the true nature of creation, the true nature of newness, how essential it is.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. Does anyone, I hope this is clear to not only Larry, but to all of you, when I was younger, I in my early 20s, I studied acting in New York. And one of the things my teacher used to just drum into the brain of everyone in the classroom, every time you perform something, it's new. Find the newness in it so it's fresh and alive. And becomes a living experience for you. It's the same way with music. Every time you create a piece of music, the newness makes it rich and wonderful and extraordinary. I've written a lot of books. Every time I sit down to do that, it's the newness, that creates something worth reading. So living has to be that way. Every day of our lives has to be filled with the wonderment of life. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Hi, Stuart. I'm still getting tripped up on the feeling of not being at peace with. So the universe creates life and all of that, and also destroys life. And I just still can't get my peace with that or forgive the universe for the destructive death side.
Well, look, you arrive at a place inside yourself, Tisha, where you have the kind of inner strength that eliminates birth and death. One, it's an organic movement of life as it flows through time. There's birth, there's death. And, and we're raised by family, by school, society, to have this innate and crazy fear of death, and it's just something that goes away as we begin to realize that there really is no death. The soul lives and evolves and learns through an eternity. And we happen to be born in these bodies because we're here to learn something that's very important about the soul's evolution. And what do I think we're here to learn? How to overcome and transform suffering into a spiritual life by building a system inside that is strong enough to do it. Transforming the pain, the suffering, and God knows there's certainly enough of it in life. We've all been through it, And one of the things I recognized early on in my life, I have to grow. I have to get stronger. I have to build a connection with what's infinite in the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, higher energy, higher power, and that is my responsibility. And if I don't do that, I'll never be able to transform the suffering inside myself into joy. That is my covenant with a higher power. I am born here to learn how to do that. Because the suffering that goes on in this world is beyond absurdity. And I grew up, early on, my influences were all these existentialist writers, and, Sartre and Camus and Beckett and et cetera, et cetera. I drowned in them until one day I said, no, there's got to be something else. There has to be something else in this world. And I finally began to realize through my inner work, there was a higher power, never forgetting the absurdity of life, because that's a constant reminder that I need to continue to build my inner life. Otherwise, you slip right back into it. So the covenant, and I hate to use that word because I don't like religious words, with higher energy is, what are we here to learn? How to take the pain, the suffering, the difficulty, transform it into a spiritual life, into love. Now, this is not easy to do. This takes a lot of, look, I went to this group of writers. They have these meetups, a group of writers. And there was one young lady who was a very good writer. She really clearly understood the language, how to put sentences together, and the only thing that was missing is that she doesn't go deep enough inside herself, in order to tap the layers upon layers of the unconscious that make for extraordinary literature. She had the craft. And this is how living is. People are so afraid to go deep enough inside themselves to transform these layers and layers and layers of the unconscious into joy, into love, in order to do that, you've got to build a system inside that's capable of doing it. That's what meditation is all about, building that kind of system. And then, we're born, we live, and we die, and God bless, We learn what we have to learn, and then we move on. It's kind of like magical realism, this world. It's kind of living a dream, and everything is supposed to be real, and everything is an illusion. It's unbelievable. And yet we think it's real, and we suffer because we think it's real, and it's always disappointing us. Now, your situation, Lisa, is building that system inside. You're very new to this. You understand? So have patience with yourself. You've come a long way. You ask great questions. And I love the questions you ask. So have patience with yourself and understand that it takes time to do this. And in order to do it, you got to let go of all of that existentialist prison that we live in, And that is slowly but surely we get strong enough to just let go of it. And just like yourself.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Yes, Stuart. I have more
I
practical
just
question.
have one announcement to make. I'm going to take a few day vacation. I do this 7 days a week, 7 classes plus in-person classes. I need a vacation, so I'm going to take Monday and Tuesday and just go away for a few days and take a vacation. I mean, I've been doing this now on Zoom. It's over 2 years, 7 classes a week, and now I'm doing in-person classes. So I probably won't have class. There might be a class on Tuesday, but I don't think so. And tomorrow I know I'm going away. So, you know, if you don't get a notice about the class at the general time that I send them out, which is here around 8 o'clock in the morning, and about maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Europe, 3 o'clock in Israel. You know, Stuart's taking a vacation. I think a deserving vacation. So does anyone have a question they would like to? Anyone else have a question? But there will be class next Thursday. That's guaranteed. Does anyone else have a question? Okay. God bless you all. Thank you. I tell you all the time, every one of you, God bless you all. You are my teacher. The questions you ask, your presence here, it just demands that I have to go through all those layers in the unconscious in order to take care of what goes on in this class. So thank you. God bless you all. If I don't see you Tuesday, then hopefully I'll see everyone on Thursday. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.